Commander Trell of the Galactic Union's elite forces stared at the holographic display with mounting disbelief. The human soldiers, these creatures from a planet classified as a death world, were engaged in what their commanding officer had casually referred to as a standard training exercise. "This can't be right," Trell muttered, his four eyes blinking in rapid succession. "Are you certain this footage isn't altered?" Lieutenant Mira, his intelligence officer, double-checked the data stream. "Confirmed authentic, sir. This is led from their military base in what they call Alaska." The aliens watched as human recruits crawled through mud under electrified barbed wire, scaled 20-foot walls without assistance, and carried wounded comrades through simulated artillery fire. One soldier had a bleeding gash across his forehead, but continued running as if it were nothing more than a minor inconvenience. "And they do this voluntarily?" asked Officer Cray, whose species evolved on a gentle world with minimal predators and no natural disasters. "Not just voluntarily," Mira replied, checking her notes. "Humans consider this the baseline required for military service. They call it boot camp." The alien observers fell silent. Their own military drills involved tactical simulations, weapon proficiency tests, and perhaps light physical conditioning. Nothing like the brutal gauntlet they were witnessing. 3 standard cycles ago, humanity had joined the Galactic Union as its newest member species. Initial assessments had categorized Earth as a Class 9 death world, a planet so inherently hostile that most Union species would perish within days of arrival. Between its fluctuating temperatures, atmospheric toxins, crushing gravity, and abundance of predators, Earth had seemed like an improbable cradle for sentient life. Yet humans had not only survived but thrived there, developing into the dominant species with remarkable speed. And now the Union needed their help. General Hayes of the United Earth Defense Force reviewed the mission parameters one last time. The Vex incursion has overwhelmed 3 Union outposts along the Oreo sector. Union forces have retreated after sustaining heavy casualties, he explained to the assembled squad of 12 human soldiers. "So we're the cavalry," said Captain Marcus, a stocky man from the Australian outback who had survived 2 days in the desert with nothing but a pocket knife before being rescued as a teenager. "Exactly. The Union's warriors aren't accustomed to the type of combat the Vex engage in. The Vex evolved on a high-gravity world with an atmosphere more toxic than ours. They're stronger, faster, and more durable than almost any Union species." "But not us," interjected Lieutenant Rivera, who had grown up in the treacherous highlands of New Andes. "No," Hayes agreed with a grim smile, "not us." The Union transport ship Harmony dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Oreo system. Commander Trell watched nervously as the 12 human soldiers checked their gear with practiced efficiency. "Commander, with respect, your forces should remain on the ship," Captain Marcus suggested. "This is going to get messy." Trell bristled slightly but couldn't deny the logic. His species had evolved on a world with 1/3 Earth's gravity and no significant predators. "We will provide tactical support from orbit," he conceded. The humans deployed to the surface of Outpost World Oreos 3, a mining colony now overrun by Vex warriors. Each Vex stood nearly 8 feet tall with armored exoskeletons and razor-sharp appendages. They had slaughtered the previous Union defenders with brutal efficiency. From the safety of orbit, Trell and his officers watched the helmet feeds with growing horror and fascination. The humans moved through the colony like ghosts, communicating with hand signals and fighting with a ferocity that seemed impossible for their size. They used the environment as a weapon, collapsing structures on Vex patrols, creating improvised explosives from mining equipment, and setting ambushes in narrow corridors. "They're not just soldiers," Mira whispered. "They're predators." When a Vex commander cornered Captain Marcus, the alien observed the human with curiosity before speaking through its translator. "Your Union allies fled before us. Why do you tiny creatures fight?" Marcus laughed, actually laughed, in the face of the towering alien. "Because compared to what Earth throws at us every day, you're not that scary." The ensuing battle lasted only seconds. The Vex was stronger, but Marcus was quicker and more brutal, targeting vulnerable joints and using the alien's weight against it until it lay broken on the ground. Within 6 Earth hours, the outpost was secure. The humans had suffered injuries, broken bones, lacerations, burns, but treated them as mere inconveniences, applying field medicine and continuing their mission. Back on the Harmony, the Union officers held a debriefing with the human squad. The atmosphere was tense as the aliens struggled to comprehend what they had witnessed. Your species considers this normal combat? Trell asked, unable to keep the tremor from his voice. This? Lieutenant Rivera shrugged, wincing slightly from a dislocated shoulder that had been popped back into place during the fight. This was a straightforward operation, clean even. Clean? Officer Cray's voice rose an octave. 3 of you required emergency medical attention, but we're all walking, Captain Marcus pointed out reasonably. Back home, we train for much worse. Arctic survival exercises, desert endurance tests, underwater combat scenarios. Commander Trell looked at these strange creatures with new understanding. Humans hadn't just survived on their death world, they had been forged by it. Their military training wasn't excessive. It was necessary preparation for a species that evolved in constant danger. The Vex have retreated from this sector entirely, Trell announced. Your reputation appears to have preceded you. Captain Marcus smiled. That's good, but just wait until they meet our Marines. The alien commander didn't ask what Marines were. Some things he decided were better left unknown.